I want to ask you something when you're playing a video game for the first time. What hooks you in those first couple of hours? Are the controls so good it makes you want to play more? Are the characters so interesting you want to learn more about them? Or is it the little things like the art style or music that you can't stop? Well, to me, all of that is perfected in Undertale. Undertale is widely considered to be one of the greatest video games of all time, but I feel like one overlooked aspect is how well it teaches you the gameplay through the first world of runes. So, I decided, hey, why not give more love to it? The way the runes introduces the player to the world of Undertale is, in my opinion, the best way I've ever seen a first level done. For this video, though, we will be analyzing only the pacifist route, as the No Mercy is supposed to be with the knowledge of the ending, and this video is about playing the game first time. Here we go! When we first open Undertale, we see us, our player character, on a bed of flowers. Following the path left will take us to a room with more flowers, or rather, a talking one. This is Flowey the flower. He acts as our tutorial character right now, like Navi from Zelda. And isn't this guy a charming little fella? He puts howdy and gosh in every sentence. Man after my own heart. He then teaches us how to get LV, which stands for love. And if you want love, you're gonna have to get friendliness pelts, in the biggest air quotations imaginable. Maybe this flower isn't what we think he is. If we dodge instead of obeying him, his mask begins to fall. Dodge him again, and we learn that he's less of a Navi and more of a Makima chainsaw man. Dick tells us his motto, that in this world, it's kill or be killed. He surrounds us in a circle of bullets, ready to kill us, but just to get closer, it heals us. A fireball and whacks Flowey as we meet our first truly friendly face, Toriel. Okay, I know that was fast, but that's what I like about this intro. It gets your attention while subtly teaching you the mechanics. It tells you nothing is as it seems in this world, and dodging is the name of the game. It also asks us questions like, why did Flowey want to kill us, and what makes this world so tough and mean that his reaction is to kill or be killed? And Toriel is my least favorite character in Undertale for reasons that you will learn late game, so we won't cover that. But no, I don't hate her, and I'm glad she has fans who look past her flaws. Just because I personally don't like her doesn't mean I think her writing's bad. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Toriel tells us that she will help us for the ruins and follow her, which we do. We're then shown a yellow light when we enter the ruins. Interacting with it will prompt the text, "The shadow of the ruins looms above," filling you with determination, before giving you the option to save. This tells us that these yellow glowing lights are save points, and they're blurbs to heighten the mood. Normally I would skip this kind of stuff, but the blurbs in Undertale are so charming that I want to highlight them when I can. This blurb tells me that my adventure is just beginning, and I've got a ways to go before the end. We're introduced to puzzles. The main thing we'll be seeing in the overworld portion. We solve some more puzzles when Toriel shows us the other thing we'll be doing in this game, combat. Or, rather, avoiding combat. Toriel tells us that instead of fighting, we should talk things out with the enemy. It's not required, but if you talk to Toriel again, she'll give you conversation topics in case you run out. It's a nice little Easter egg you can completely miss out on. Once we interact with the battle dummy, we see the battle menu for the first time. Since we were told to talk, we choose the act option, which makes the most sense. We talk to it, and the fight's over. I once again like how quick the tutorial is while teaching you the mechanics. It gives you the steps to figure it out yourself while not being too vague or obvious. Into the next room, we test our abilities on a real enemy. I think the whole room shows Undertale's comedy. Sorry. The enemy we're shown is Frogget, a fusion between the roots, the words frog and rabbit. An enemy you can encounter later on. We go to the act option, but there's more options. It again tells us that this menu can change depending on the enemy. You can click either insult or compliment, to which Frogget won't understand what you say, and then we see Toriel give a Luigi death stare at Frogget, and Frogget sadly walks away. We then come across a room with spikes, to which Toriel takes control away with us to solve the puzzle herself. It's even more funnier when the first thing she said when you enter the room is, "You can solve the puzzle yourself." To me, this is a sign that this game is going to be funny. This room is a parody of hand-holding tutorials that don't let you figure things out yourself. Example I can think of is Final Fantasy XIV. It doesn't let you figure anything out yourself, and Actually, now that I think about it, I'm at chapter 2 of that game, and it still feels like it's hand holding me. Anyhow, back to good game. Sorry, not sorry, Final Fantasy fans. The next room has Toriel leaving us as we give chase her. Before she leaves us, she gives us a cell phone to contact her. The worst thing she could have done. Yeah, turns out I don't like stopping just to read some dialogue without any warning. I mean, the dialogue is entertaining itself, but I feel like some of these could have been cut. We are given the option to save again, with the text playfully crinkling through the leaves, fills you with determination. The stages of Undertale tie into the four seasons, with the ruins being autumn. The save point pointing out the leaves reminds me of the autumn atmosphere. We can run into more enemies now as well. There's Frogget, as mentioned, as well as Moldsmal and Whimsun. You can talk to Frogget in the overworld, who tells you what to do after talking to an enemy, which is to spare them. Then don't explain what you do after you've spared an enemy, so a Frogget explaining it is neat. Whimsun is, I think, a fusion of the words whimsy and sun, and is so shy you can just spare him and fight's over. Moldsmal is more of the same, except one of the act options is doing a juicy wiggle. It's also my favorite enemy in the ruins because its design resembles a jellyfish and barnacle. It gave me an excuse to use Alvin footage. God, I love these films. Can't wait to talk about these films more one day. Also my favorite sorry. After we do some more puzzles, we come across another example of Undertale's humor. Most of the puzzles involve pushing rocks to a button. So when we get to this room and prepare to do the usual, the rock talks to us. I'll skip to there. The rock acts all tough-like until you ask it to move to the button, to which it does. When you're about to leave, the rock pushes up back and the spike trap goes back up. Fortunately, it only happens once, but it does get annoying on repeat playthroughs. Maybe on a repeat, the rock can tell how agitated you are and gives you no trouble. Well, we then come across another save point. Knowing the mouse might one day leave its hole and get the cheese fills you with determination. There's a mouse hole at the save point that makes a squeak, and cheese on a table. I may be digging too deep into a joke, but maybe what Toby was trying to say is life may life may be scary, but you have to risk it for the thing you want. That's just a guess though. The next room has our first boss, being this ghost laying down and says Z repeatedly, being Napstablook. This is where the player will truly learn how Undertale works. Napstablook is a bit depressed, with his attacks involve tears, and the second attack in the fight where he doesn't really feel up to it, and doesn't attack you at all. So it's up to you to cheer him up. You tell him a little joke and a patient smile, to which he'll show you his dapper hat. Cheer him one more time, and the fight's over. I think this is the first time the player realizes not everything has to be solved with violence. After the fight, Napstablook says today he met someone really nice today, aka you. He leaves and you move forward. And with that, we are officially three-fourths of the way done with the ruins. Yay! Let's go! And now we have new enemies to talk about, too. Lux is a Cyclops who, ironically, doesn't like being looked at. And Megasp is the opposite, who will tell you what's on his mind and give you spared by sparing the other enemies first. Vegetoid is probably my least favorite enemy in the ruins. Besides from Frogget, Vegetoid is the only enemy to have an overworld sprite, because this radish can jump scare you if you wander around in some puzzle rooms, and for whatever reason, Vegetoid is so overly complicated when it comes to sparing him. The enemies in the ruins either need one act option, or can be spared right away. Sparing Vegetoid is like a puzzle in itself. And in the demo, you can't even spare him. I just see Vegetoid as a difficulty spike that could have been removed entirely. Anywho, my long rant on why I think Vegetoid is mid aside. The player can get new enemies, new items we can equip, being the Faded Ribbon for armor and Toy Knife for a weapon. Both increase your attack and defense by 3. However, the Toy Knife is useless, as the next area has a much better weapon you can get at the start of the area, and it's not worth the hassle. Plus, it's another way of saying that violence isn't the way to go. We find ourselves at a tree with fallen leaves as Toriel comes back. Well, I took her like 2 pages of script. We learn that this is where she lives. Before we enter her house, we save her the first time in this area. Seeing such a tidy home in the ruins fills you with determination. I haven't commented on the music yet, but Undertale is my favorite soundtrack from any indie game, aside from Minecraft, if that counts. Toriel's home's atmosphere is hard carried by the music. It's calming and warm, with soothing guitar being played. The feeling of the song is also nostalgic, as if you've been to a place you haven't been for years. When I'm stressed out, I listen to both this and the Minecraft OST to calm me down. The color scheme of Toriel's house also gives off this nostalgic feeling, with oranges and peaches as warm, calming colors compared to the harsh purple of the ruins. Side note, but the purple of the ruins and the purple of Toriel's dress is also, ironically, the color scheme of Kyoko Kiriger from Danganronpa. I like Kyoko. Kyoko is cool. After you take a nap, you talk to Toriel. She expresses how she enjoys that. She enjoys having someone else to keep her company, and shows her favorite bug hunting spots and whatnot. She asks us what we need, but we ask her one thing, which is a rare occasion where the character we play as shows character. How do we exit the ruins? Toriel tries to change the topic, but no matter how cozy Toriel's house is, this isn't our real home. We follow her downstairs, where Toriel tells us that the downstairs lies the only exit of the ruins, meaning there hasn't been any enemy besides Flowey Nabstable who can teleport, who has left the ruins, which is where my problems with Toriel begin to show. Before you enter home, a frog tells you Toriel just angrily stares at the other monsters when she sees them. Now, we don't hear Toriel's side of this, and judging by her dialogue at the dummies section, that's it, so it's up for debate, really. Toriel then states that in order to leave, we have to fight her. And thus, the true first boss begins. This may seem confusing to a person who hasn't battled much enemies, but the game has been building up this fight. Most enemies can be spared just by pressing spare, and Napspool has to spam one thing in order to spare him. There's nothing in the act menu, and by pressing spare shows a speech bubble, so spamming spare is the way to go. Toriel is confused as to why you refuse to fight, and begs you to go back upstairs. Toriel then understands our side of the story and lets us leave, as long as we never come back, which is fair considering the later game. We embrace a hug from her as we leave the ruins. Thanks for watching.